Built-in Functions Overview. Built-in functions are Terraform language operators that transform values before a provider receives them. Terraform evaluates functions during expression processing inside the configuration graph. The mechanism is simple. A function receives input values, applies a deterministic rule, and returns a new value. The outcome is normalized configuration data before Terraform constructs provider API payloads. Because functions belong to the language layer, the same function logic can shape tags, ARNs, JSON documents, module inputs, and validation rules across any provider. Functions convert raw values into structured inputs from resource arguments. String functions such as split, replace, and format modify text without creating infrastructure objects. The mechanism is value transformation inside Terraform's expression engine. The outcome is consistent naming and labeling because identifiers derive from a single source string instead of repeated manual edits. Collection functions restructure lists, maps, and sets so Terraform can generate predictable resource arguments. The merge function combines multiple maps into one structure. Terraform evaluates the arguments from left to right, and later keys override earlier ones. The mechanism is precedence ordering across maps. The outcome is layered configuration where global defaults combine with workload-specific overrides without duplicating entire tag sets. Terraform tracks the type of every value flowing through the configuration graph. Conversion functions such as toNumber and toString normalize values when inputs arrive in the wrong primitive form. The mechanism is explicit type coercion during expression evaluation. The outcome is stable module interfaces and fewer type mismatch errors during planned execution. Terraform also includes a diagnostic function called type. Engineers commonly run this function inside the Terraform console command to inspect the type Terraform assigned to a value. The console returns Terraform's internal type representation. The outcome is faster debugging because engineers can inspect the exact value shape before writing validation rules or module constraints. Encoding functions translate structured Terraform values into serialized text formats. jsonencode converts Terraform objects into JSON strings suitable for provider APIs. Decoding functions such as yamldecode convert serialized text back into Terraform collections. The mechanism is data serialization between Terraform's internal types and external configuration formats. The outcome is safer policy generation because engineers construct objects first and serialize them only at the boundary where providers require text. Terraform expressions can fail when an attribute does not exist inside an object. The try function evaluates multiple expressions and returns the first one that does not produce an error. The can function checks whether an expression would succeed without producing a runtime error. The mechanism is controlled error handling within the expression engine. The outcome is stable configuration when optional attributes appear or disappear across environments. A submarine watch team never trusts a single instrument reading without confirming the signal path. If a gauge line breaks, the dial still exists, but the number becomes meaningless. Terraform has the same risk surface. A missing attribute is a broken signal path in your configuration graph. If you reference it directly, the plan collapses during a deployment window. Try creates a defined fallback path, so the graph remains evaluable.